We're in California, in Long Beach. It's gorgeous. Crowds are here. The sunshine is here. The Queen Mary's just across the bay. We're in for a great day of car racing.
We're green. Oh, they get into each other. Look at this. Another great battle with a great move. Really swinging the bat. Oh, what a move around the outside.
We're here for the Pirelli Grand Prix of Long Beach, presented by Stop Tech Brakes. And the story of the weekend, until today, has been weather. Friday, for practice, tremendous downpour. We got a practice in, but honestly, just barely. Yesterday, tremendous wind and cold temperatures, unseasonably cold temperatures. For Long Beach, California, that is. Well, we've had just about everything weather-wise, but we've cleared it all off the decks. We're set for a fabulous race day today. And we've had some surprises in qualifying first thing this morning. To tell you about all of the surprises and the great race underway, here's Calvin Fish and Greg Creamer.
Well, thanks very much, Jim and Cal. Indeed, we had some surprises. Randy Popst on pole after a tough season last year and a tough start to the season this year. Great qualifying run by Dave Welch in the Ferrari, but also in GTS.
Yeah, absolutely. Kia's in only their second event have swept the second row there. Colin Brown narrowly out qualifying his teammate Michael Galati.
America's Monaco, as Johnny O'Connell puts it. But a great street race started this season for our Kia Rewind. Let's go back and take a look at the opening two rounds of the championship at St. Pete. And it all came down to a start. Lawson Aschenbach on pole, but as always, the Volvos, an amazing start with that all-wheel drive. And Alex Figge led down in, and then mid-pack carnage between GTS and touring car classes bottled things up.
Yes, again, gets it all wrong there down under braking. Carnage ensues afterwards, and then a little bit further into the event, Nick Asayan into Rick Golinello down in turn one. Big damage to both cars.
And then in the debut for CRP Racing of their Nissan GTR, Daskalos in the Hawk Performance entry, a little bit of a fire, but it was put out. Great work by the course workers. A little flare up there. They got it out. Not a lot of damage, and he was fine as well, so that was the good news. However, some intense racing. This is Roger Miller. A little hot down into turn one. Gets it into the concrete. That created a long full course yellow.
Yeah, he manages to drag this car away, but it did cause some problems a little bit later in the race for Lawson Aschenbach. But meanwhile, he takes the lead in traffic. Look at that. Splitting that back marker. Goes around the other side. Takes the lead from Figge.
Then we had a restart, and again, Aschenbach leads him, but look at Johnny O'Connell in the Cadillac. Looked like Popes was going to be able to block him. Connell not to be denied, down into second, and that was pivotal for the race win. That was to come up a little bit later. We'll talk about that.
Great battle ensued in the touring car division. Look at this. Michael Cooper from the pole. He takes the lead as Herbert gets it a little bit wrong down in turn one. And then just a lap later, maybe trying to make up some lost ground, gets it completely wrong and crashes into the barriers.
And that brought out the final full course caution under which the race finished. Lawson Aschenbach thought he had the win, but he had passed under a local yellow earlier. He was moved back to fourth. However, he did set fast lap. That put him on pole for race two, which is where our Kia Rewind continues. He got away with another great launch, but again, the Volvo is a superb start as well. And a stalled car in the back that really held up. Round one winner in GTS, Justin Bell. And for Mike Skeen, problems again, only completed a couple of laps.
Here we see Shea Holbrook get it a little bit wrong down in the braking zone for turn one. And as you can see, the ensuing damage to several race cars.
Then we had some great battling once again in the touring cars, three abreast at one point as they headed down into some of the very challenging twisty bits of that track. And Justin Bell, as I mentioned, after getting held up, makes a great pass on Jason Von Kluge and starts to pick it up and go toward the front looking for the sweep. And that was the completion of the pass he put on Petey Cunningham. He said Petey raced him very clean. Aschenbach, Cal, did hang on for the overall win.
And in the GTS category, Justin Bell takes his second win of the weekend.
Yeah, filling in for the gentleman who won the championship last year, Paul Brown. And just a great story unfolding in that eBay Motors Mustang. And Mr. Cooper hung on for a sweep as well. Now, do keep in mind, here at Long Beach this weekend, it is only the GT and GTS machines that are running. But for Cooper, what a great start to his World Challenge career. Here's a look now as we sit on the grid with Lawson Aschenbach. But before qualifying, Jim Martin was able to catch up with the driver who has taken over that true speed machine for Entrust.
Lawson Aschenbach, a great start to the season, not perfect. Who's chasing who, Cadillacs or Porsches?
Well, you know, the Cadillac had a strong car at St. Petersburg, and it was great fighting with them. It's great to have them in the series, and I'm obviously, happy to be racing against Johnny and Andy. But, hey, things happen in St. Pete. I totally understand what the series had to do. Rules are rule, and it was kind of a collective effort where, some issues kind of happened. We've gotten them straightened out now that I think will help the series as a whole and all the teams as well. So, Hey, like I said, things happen, and we're here at Long Beach, and we're just kind of ready to fight again.
11 points behind coming in.
Yeah, it's a tight battle. Every race counts. It's only 12 races, but one DNF can be the difference between a championship and finishing second or fourth, for that matter. So, thankfully, I've got a great team here in True Speed. Everybody, all our sponsors, Privacy Star and Trust. We've got one heck of a Porsche GT3, and I think this track is going to suit us fairly well, and we're looking forward to the challenge this weekend.
Fun to watch.
Thank you very much.
Great to have the 06 GT champion back in GT. Speaking of which, the Motul GT Pole Award goes to Randy Popes in the Capex Volvo. His 36th career pole ties him for second all-time with Michael Galati. He's with Jim.
Randy Popes, another pole position. The Volvo looked great today.
See this smile on my face? Man, I am thrilled. We were on it today. My engineer, Will Moody at Capex Racing, I don't know what he did to the car, but it made it kind of scary the first 2 laps. And then it got better and better and better. And by the last 2 laps, it was like full-on Volvo. In other words, I trusted it. And I could just haul buns around here in Long Beach. Our all-wheel drive is a big help on this slippery street circuit and in these tight corners. And the turbo engine, when it comes on, man, it's just like somebody, I don't know, kicked me right in the butt. A big giant. Boom! And away we went. So I'm really thrilled. The car handled so well. I cannot wait for the race here. We got to win one at Long Beach for Volvo and for Capex Racing.
He does like his Volvos, Cal.
He really does. And when he's confident, he's a tough man to beat.
Yeah, without a doubt. And, of course, we talked about the problems Randy had at the opening round and struggling a bit last year. He wasn't the only one. There were a couple other players that have had some issues. One of them was Mike Skeen. And the Corvette at St. Pete struggled here in the GTR for CRP Racing. They've had their struggles as well. Jim Martin caught up with the very quick Mike Skeen.
Challenges a couple of weekends back in St. Petersburg didn't turn out to be a great weekend.
Yeah, no doubt. Lots of bad memories from St. Petersburg for both cars, but fortunately, we have 2 good Hawk Nissan Performance GTRs here. We've got a brand new one here for me. Jason will be in the same car that he was last week. But, we have a lot to learn with these cars. This one's brand new, hasn't set a wheel on track yet. And so, we're going to have our work cut out for us for sure. But hopefully we can get some good finishes, learn a lot, and then move on to Miller.
Great diversity in this series. It is the Pirelli World Challenge. There's Brian Kabinski making his first 2012 start in the car that Skeen used to run. Another newcomer right behind him, that absolutely glorious APS Under Armour Audi of Anders Hayner. Jim found him earlier.
The car had to make numerous changes to the car to bring it into the series.
Yeah, we had to race it quite a bit, and it didn't seem to like that too much. But we'll work with it. We'll figure it out. We're still trying to soften up the car. It came much stiffer from Europe because of all the downforce, so we removed a lot of downforce. But I think we'll figure it out. It'll take a while. But this is a tough track. There's not a lot of seat time, and I'm trying to learn the track at the same time. And then it will rain tires, and it's a lot of cool stuff being thrown at it. I love it. It's fun.
Pretty good pedigree for the driver, too, Cal.
Absolutely. He's very impressive when he won a 2006 Grand Am Championship.
And a quick look at the GoPro StopTech Ferrari 430 GT of David Welch. He's with Jim.
The Ferraris in the top 2 rows. Were you surprised, or did you know this was here all along?
We knew there was a potential of it. It's amazing what a day of testing will actually do. We haven't been able to test the car before St. Pete, and it showed. And, the series is working with us a little bit. They didn't want to give us a whole lot last year. We needed some help in the horsepower department, and they were reluctant to do that, and we understood why. And it was obvious at St. Pete that we needed some help, so we got a little.
And now let's take a look at the Motul Pole Award for GTS, going to the legendary Peter Cunningham, his 46th career pole, extending his all-time record. And keeping in mind, you get points for qualifying in the top 5, 15 for pole. That has been a huge improvement for him in terms of his chase of one Jay Bell in the points championship, Cal.
Yeah, absolutely. You can see he sneaks back up on JB's lead right there. Andy Lee, a pole in St. Petersburg, and Jason Von Kluge and Jack Baldwin were out the top 5.
And the GT driver points, also presented by Volvo. You can see here Johnny O'Connell leads, and he's now more than 11 clear of Lawson Aschenbach because of the fact that Lawson didn't get a great run in qualifying than Pilgrim Sophronius and Alex Figge. Today's coverage of the Pirelli World Challenge Championships are being brought to you by Sunoco Race Fuels, fueling victories for over 4 decades. the Cadillac V-Series, the 556 horsepower CTS-V coupe, sedan, and wagon, the world's fastest family of cars. And by Pirelli, power is nothing without control. Truly one of the most spectacular venues imaginable. Welcome back, everybody, to the Pirelli World Challenge, Grand Prix of Long Beach, presented by StopTech. And while this certainly is just a beautiful place to go racing, Cal, it is truly one of the more challenging venues you can imagine as well. So let's take a look at, first of all, the Motul braking zone.
Yeah, this is our regular feature that we'll have on every broadcast. This week we're focusing on turn 1. You come screaming down Shoreline Drive into that brake zone. It's hard on the brakes, and it's really the greatest opportunity to pass another car. Here we see it highlighted, 300, 200, 100. I think with the weight of these cars and the speed they'll be carrying will be somewhere in the 3 to 200 range. If you get down into that red zone, you're certainly going to have a problem, probably be bouncing off other race competitors right there.
And of course, that pass can often be set up in the hairpin at the other end of Shoreline with a good run out of there. Now let's take a look at our Motul race analysis. A huge starting grid, 35 cars. The weather after a cold rain most of the day on Friday. Absolutely glorious today. Cool for Long Beach, but still beautiful. 11 turns, 1.968 miles. You can take a look at the track lap records set in racing, of course, not in qualifying, Cal.
Yeah, and I think with these cool conditions, we should see some good lap times here today as well.
Well, the engines are certainly going to love the power. It'll be good on tires as well, so I think we're in for a good show coming up, to be sure, as you take a look at the Queen Mary, a famous landmark here. You know, in the Pirelli World Challenge and the Sports Car Wars, there are always great stories, but perhaps none more compelling than we've seen unfold in the GTS category, with former champion, last year's champion, Paul Brown, missing the opening rounds, and his sponsor's representative, the legendary Justin Bell, filling in. Earlier, we caught up with Paul.
Just 2 weeks before the start of the season, I had something come up and wasn't able to make the race. Luckily, we had Justin, friend of the family, last minute, gave him a call. He jumped in it. No practice, no testing.
When I got the call from Paul and eBay Motors to say, are you interested in coming and driving? This is a situation we need your help with. I was very motivated to do so, especially when I went and met Paul. Going to his workshop, they have a big team mentality for a small team. So I was able to get a lot of confidence from that. I didn't think I would win one race, let alone 2.
Our driving style is very similar. The guys have been able to work with him and just do the tweaks that he's needed, and it's been a seamless fit. I couldn't ask for anybody better to fill the season.
They didn't have to change much on the car. I'm pretty much the same size as Paul. We have within 90% probably the same driving style, and of course he won races last year and a championship. So there's a little bit of pressure, but I'm glad we handled it.
Now I'm worried that he won't give me my car back. So we're seeing what we can do to keep him in the car for the rest of the year, and maybe I'll be supporting him later in the season. No matter who's driving one of our cars, it'll be up front, and you'll see us in the winner's circle.
Well, I'll tell you, both great talents, Cal. How fun to have a two-car team.
Yeah, that would be fantastic, but JB did a great job stepping into someone else's race car, very little testing, and getting 2 wins on debut.
Long Beach, of course, is a happening, and it all starts with Thunder on Pine.
Hi, I'm Johnny O'Connell with Cadillac Racing and the Pirelli World Challenge, out here at Long Beach enjoying the Thunder on Pine.
And what you saw behind Johnny, those are the actual race cars. They actually drive them up there under police escort. The crowd can get in and amongst, touch the cars as long as, obviously, it's within reason. And then they do interviews with the drivers. It is very much for the fans. You get in there, and it's fan-friendly, an autograph session. The fans love it. The drivers absolutely love it. And it really builds some absolutely great rapport between the fans and the teams and the drivers at the competition. And we get to see some pretty spectacular shows unfolding as well. It's some great stuff. And, of course, as we take another look at the starting grid as we're closing in on the start of this third round of the Pirelli World Challenge, we talked about the braking zone and our Motul braking zone, but there's a lot of corners on this track. And, as always, it's time for our Cadillac CTS-V Key Corners, today by Andy Pilgrim. Andy?
This is Andy Pilgrim. This is Cadillac CTS-V Key Corners at Long Beach, California. The long straightaway is not really a straightaway at Long Beach. It's a right-hand turn. We're up into 6th gear, up to about 150, 60 miles an hour for the GT cars. Heavy uphill braking zone into turn 1. Left-hander, got to watch the concrete on the exit. You can easily slide into that concrete. It becomes a problem in the race a lot of times. A lot of accidents there. Down here, quick into the fountain area. It's a 2nd gear corner. It's very slippery. It doesn't get a lot of rubber down. It's always slippery on the exit. Again, another piece of concrete right there on the left exit. This is a little bit of right-hand kink, turn 4, into turn 5, and this is a downhill off camber, turn 5. Very, very tricky. Good braking zone into an increasing radius left-hander. This is turn 7. Accelerate hard is uphill here, and you get good grip on exit, and then we got downhill braking into turn 8. It's a little bit bumpy and slippery in 8, especially at the race time. Very, very heavy braking for a right-hand turn 9. Third gear corner again. A long left-hander into the very famous Long Beach hairpins. Way long here from third down to second to first gear. And that is your Cadillac CTSV key corners at Long Beach, California.
And you know, this wasn't a track the long wheelbase Cadillacs were really looking to do well at, but a great qualifying run due to the team, due to the program itself, and due to drivers like Andy Pilgrim and this guy, Johnny O'Connell. Earlier we caught up with John Kramer, the racing manager for the Cadillac V-Series.
You know, we race in the World Challenge Series for a simple reason. It's a production-based series, and we want to talk about, you know, the race car, but we use the race car to talk about our production car. It's really about promoting Cadillac, going against the world's best. You got to be the best, you want to race the best. You know, we're really pleased with how 2011 started. We didn't have a lot of prep time, and you know, in the end, a lot of hard work, and we fought for every place, every position, every podium that we got. We've got a really great race team with Pratt and Miller. And the other thing we have is really great drivers. Johnny and Andy are professionals on the track and off the track. We're real pleased at how 2012 has started, you know, at St. Pete with Johnny O'Connell getting a first and then both guys getting a second and third in the second race. The feedback from fans that didn't realize that that Cadillac actually raced has been outstanding. We've got a following now. We've got over 75 V owners coming down to watch the race in our Cadillac Corral this weekend, and they're all pumped to see us perform well on track this weekend.
Well, they've been coming after that Manufacturers Fan Championship with all of that support frequently as well, too. There's a look at the starting lineup as we are just about ready to go. There is a look at our official pace car, the beautiful VW Jetta GLI that leads the field around at all of the Pirelli World Challenge races. And as we are closing in on the start of this one, watch that car. Obviously some very special guests leading the field around at this point, as well as some other special cars, the Bondurant School of High Performance Driving car right behind. But now it is time for us to get this one underway. So for that very famous command, let's head to the front of the grid and Pirelli's Gianluca Grioni.
For our friends at Optima Battery and Pirelli Tire North America, driver, start your engine!
Now that's how you do that. That was a great call to the command, and 35 machines fire to life down there in the starting grid on this cool, windy day. It is going to be an amazing race. Let's get you to our starting lineup. Once again, with his 36th career pole in the K-Pax Volvo, Randy Popes on the inside, Andy Pilgrim in the Cadillac CTSV Coupe alongside. In row number 2, teammate Johnny O'Connell qualifies third, and Dave Welch in that beautiful GoPro Stop Tech Ferrari 430 GT. We go to row number 3. It is Lawson Aschenbach coming in the Privacy Star N-Trust Porsche. Another Porsche alongside this, the Stop Tech Porsche Dino Crescentini. Row number 4, James Safronis, 09 winner here, will be inside of that fourth row in his Global Motorsports Group Porsche, and Justin Marks in the True Speed GoPro Mooresville Motorsports Complex machine. Then we go to row number 5, Steve Ott racing again, once again, for our heroes in the Loctite Porsche, and Hollywood native Tommy Dreese in the Three Stooges the Movie Porsche. Up next, Brian Kabinski making his first start of the season in the Carlisle Interconnect Technology Vet, and Jeff Courtney in the Kenda Tires Wreck Stuff Porsche. Then we go to the next row number 7, Anders Hayner in that beautiful new APS Under Armour Global Motorsports Group Audi, and Tony Gaples in the Kleinschmidt Black Duck Speed Shop Vet. Then inside of row number 8, it's Brent Holden in another Global Motorsports Group Porsche, joined by Mike Skeen at his debut in the Hawk Performance Nissan GTR. Then in row number 9, Jason Daskalos in the Team Hawk Performance CRP Nissan GTR, and Alex Figge, who moved to the back after an engine change post-qualifying in the Volvo. Cal?
On row 10, our GTS pole sitter, unbelievably, the 46th time Petey Cunningham has been the fast man, starting alongside the 92 Trans Am champ, Jack Baldwin. Kia Lockout the next row. Young Colin Brown, recently married, narrowly outscores his teammate Michael Gallardi for that grid position. On row 12, we have heavy muscle here. Justin Bell coming off 2 wins at St. Petersburg, starting alongside our St. Petersburg pole sitter, Andy Lee. Lou Gilardi returns, the 3-time champ. Great to see him back. He'll start alongside veteran Nick Hussain in the V6-powered TSX Acura. On row 14, we have a pair of rookies, Alfonso Perry starting alongside Brian Kleeman in the Nissan 370Z. Next row, another pair of heavy muscle cars, Harry Curtin in the Chevrolet Camaro alongside Brad Adams in the Ford Mustang Boss 302S. Bill Ziegler had some problems here last year, hoping for better things today in another GMG entry, the Mitsubishi Evo, starting alongside rookie Roger Miller in the Ford Mustang. A pair of teammates on row 17, Greg Schaefer and Rick Boucher in the 370Zs, and the last man in the field is Don Ushtuk in the Audi TT RS.
So that is a look. Again, 35-car field. There is our Nissan Leaf safety car. It is 100% electric, zero gas, zero emission. It follows the field around in every race, just in case there's some sort of an issue. And it does so with an incredibly environmentally friendly message. And when we come back to Long Beach, it will be the start of the third round of the Pirelli World Challenge Championships. The Pirelli World Challenge, the most intense and unique sports car racing on the planet. Multiple classes running at the same time, but in a sprint format. Some of the world's top manufacturers and the world's best drivers, all beginning with standing starts. It is truly Sports Car Wars. For series and event ticket information, check out world-challenge.com. To watch replays of all the intense action, check out world-challengetv.com. And always check it out, Pirelli World Challenge on Facebook. Today's coverage of the Pirelli World Challenge Championships are being brought to you by Volvo, the fastest growing luxury brand in the U.S. By StopTech, world-class brake components and systems for racing cars and high-performance vehicles on the street and track. And by the Bob Bondurant School of High Performance Driving, internationally recognized as a leading authority on driver training. We are back at Long Beach for the start of the Pirelli World Challenge Grand Prix of Long Beach, presented by StopTech. This is the third round for the GT and GTS machines. And once again, we're going to have some great onboard looks. It's time for a look, Cal, at our Racekeeper quad box.
It should be spectacular here around Long Beach. In the top left there, we've got Don Ushtuk and a new car, the Audi TT RS. He'll start 35th in the field. To the right side of the screen, Rick Boucher in the 370Z. He'll start 34th. Bottom left, Alex Figge was 6th fast in qualifying, then had an engine problem, so he moves to the back of the GT field today. And the bottom right, Jeff Courtney in a Porsche. He'll line up 13th in the GT class.
There's a look at the field, and once again, the red lights will go on. When they go out, we go racing. We're ready for the start here at Long Beach. It's the roar by the shore. Watch for the lights. We're green. And as you would expect, Randy Popes with that all-wheel drive, Cal, a huge launch.
Problem
We've got
at the back.
Exactly. Somebody got a little bit stalled.
I think, in that Porsche. Lazy to get away as the field streams down to that braking zone for turn one. Popes, as you would expect, a big lead over the two caddies. Look at the Ferrari looking to the inside.
Trying to protect. That's Crescentini in that black and red Porsche trying to make a move. Can't. And I believe that is Marks that got squeezed there in the second of the True Speed car, so he drops back just a little bit. Indeed it was. Now everybody through that glorious fountain complex and now start to make a run to really some of the exciting parts of this track. Turn 5 on the west shoreline, and then 6, 7, and 8, Cal. Great parts of this track. Off camber, a lot of it.
Yeah, it is. It's really tricky. Remember, these tire temps and pressures aren't up yet. Look at Dino Crescentini, always aggressive, looking strong, and one of the GMG Porsches with his teammate James Safronis right behind him, coming down in that tricky turn 8.
And now let's take a look at Jack Baldwin's start, and you can see Petey Cunningham, Cal, got caught up in that stalled machine, and look at Baldwin's launch.
Yeah, he just sliced his way through the field there perfectly, and he was looking for a good start. He thought Petey had a bit more. Here comes Safronis down to the inside on Welsh. That's for the 5th spot.
Boy, James Safronis knows this track so well, winning here in 09, second here last year in that Global Motorsports car. They've got 250 guests and clients of Global Motorsports here based in nearby Santa Ana, so he's looking for a strong run. And by the way, I wanted to mention Baldwin in that Hot Wheels Porsche. That start has put him in the lead, which he didn't expect, Cal.
He didn't. He thought Petey had some straightaway speed on, so he was concerned about that run down to turn 1. But Petey having the problem in traffic there certainly led to the change in position.
Boy, Welch, that car in a straight line, that Ferrari is quick, and Safronis had to defend just a little bit. And there you have a look at that beautiful black Kleinschmidt Black Dog Speed Shop Corvette of Tony Gaples. Why are we looking at it? Because he's won the Optima Batteries Best Standing Start Award. Look at this launch, Cal, up 4 spots.
Beautiful, gets the power down nicely. Had a couple of cars to his left side who didn't get away very well, so that helped his cause. But once again, Tony always races here on the streets of Long Beach.
Yeah, he's a charger. I mean, he passes more cars during the course of the season than anybody else. He loves it when it gets racing time. Oh, very aggressive on the curbs there was Steve Ott, but not able to make the move, I don't think. And, of course, you'll use any piece of racetrack you can here.
Yeah, you got to be careful, though. You can tear up that front splitter. There's a little bit of ride height, as you can see on these cars, but even so, those curbs there on the inside of Turn 5 are pretty aggressive.
Here's a look at those beautiful Kias that had such a strong qualifying effort, a rebound from St. Pete, Cal, and looking very strong here, still running in 3rd and 4th.
Yeah, Galati's got around his team as he locks up that inside wheel. Oh, look at this. That's
Ziegler, I think, has gone off in the Swisher GMG Motorsports Mitsubishi Evo, and he's backed it into the tires, and we're going to take a look at what unfolded here, Cal.
Coming down. Oh, he gets attacked there pretty hard. Wow, nearly up on 2 wheels. Well, he was on 2, nearly all the way over.
That was Lou Gelati who got him up in the air. 2nd year in a row for Ziegler to be airborne here at Long Beach.
Welcome back, G-Man.
Yeah, exactly. Here are your leaderboards. Popes leading Pilgrim, O'Connell, and Crescentini in GT, and in GTS, Baldwin over Cunningham, and the 2 Kias of Galati and Brown. We'll be back. It is still Randy Popes heading up the 2 Cadillacs here at the Prix World Challenge Grand Prix of Long Beach, presented by Stop Tech. And there is a look at Andy Pilgrim, who, I'll tell you, he's had a couple of seconds here over the years, but never put together the win here. Randy Popes, of course, a lot of success here in the streets of Long Beach. And then back and forth, you see the battle of the teammates. Dino Crescentini hanging on in front of his teammate and team owner, James Safronis, as we watch this great field of cars streaming down into that Motul braking zone focus, this long turn 1.
Yeah, it's really aggressive there on the brakes. Here we see the 2 GMG Porsches, Safronis closing in a little bit on Dino Crescentini. David Welch doing a tremendous job there with the Ferrari this weekend. Currently 6, haven't qualified on the 2nd row of the grid.
We heard him talking about getting a little help from the series. That's one thing that it's a job I don't envy and don't wish on anyone, but the tech guys for the Pirelli World Challenge, balancing these cars, it is a job they take incredibly seriously. When you take a look at the results, obviously certain tracks will favor certain cars, but the overall picture, Cal, they do an amazing job.
You do, and you really have to be careful that you don't make adjustments too quickly. We're doing 2 streets. Oh, look at Crescentini there out in the dust there, very wide there, coming off of turn 6, and his teammate really putting the pressure on.
Right before this race started, in another event, there was a little bit of oil dropped, and that's some of that oil dry you're seeing. Here's a look at those absolutely beautiful Infinity Audio Kia Motors America Kia Optimas in their debut season in competition. Great rebound in the qualifying effort, but now they've got the winner of the opening 2 rounds of the championship, Justin Bell, and then eBay Motors and eBay Mobile, Paul Brown Racing entry, the Tiger Racing entry, right behind them right now. But what a great turnaround for this Kia team after the problems at St. Pete to this event. Earlier we checked in with the team drivers to find out how things are going.
I've been around these cars for a long time, so I think we got a great package. Like I said, there's a great chemistry between the team, and I got a lot of knowledge about making these cars go, and so we all work together very well as a team, so hopefully we can bring this car up front, give Kia a win or something this year, so we're very excited. I'm very excited. I'm like a kid in the candy store, and just come back and be able to do this is fantastic.
It's going really good for us this weekend. We had a good weekend in St. Petersburg, got these chance to run these cars, learn a lot about these cars. These guys have been working really hard back at the shop, and I think a lot of people don't know we haven't really got a chance to test these cars and work on them. So it goes back to the hard work these guys did back at the shop, and certainly being made in the USA is a cool thing to be able to kind of go around the country and talk about, and it shows. These guys have done a great job. The guys back in the factories and the plants, and everyone at Kia has done a great job to give us a chance to come out here and showcase what these cars are all about.
Well, I'll tell you, Cal, watching Galati, he's got a bit of a problem with the brakes now. I mentioned that, by the way, that Popes was now tied for 2nd in the career polls. It's Galati, who he's tied with, 5-time champion, very talented driver in Brown, but right now Galati looks to be struggling a little.
Yeah, he's logging up that right front. You go into these corners, you mentioned there's a lot of camber as you turn into these corners, and it unweights that inside wheel, and Michael's got to control that because he's probably got a flat spot on that tyre now and keeps hitting it, and his teammate can see that and had a little look down the inside down into turn 1, but Justin Bell is looking very strong in that Mustang right behind this pair.
And Andy Lee's not too far adrift either. Now, let's hop on board with Brian Kabinski as he's making a pass down into 1, and he's sideways, Cal.
He is right down in that Motul brake zone. We talked about it. He was hot down on the inside and just started to lose the rear end. And Steve Ott was to his outside, so he gets down the escape road with him. He's not. Oh, and then Kubinski rubs salt in the wound, blocks his way. Ott is going to be furious on that one.
Well, we're on board with that right now. That's Kubinski up front as they head through the fountain complex after they've gathered it back up again. And they've got some cars that are coming up. That's Mike Skeen behind them as well. So this will be interesting to see.
Steve Ott is going to be... He's going to be Ott.
Now, on that chute, this is 5 down into 6 and 7. And, boy, big move there. Ott in very, very deep, Cal. And he's wide, but Kubinski runs wide as well.
Yeah, I think Kubinski may be having some braking issues. I mean, this street course really pounds the brakes even in these early laps, and you can burn them out pretty quickly or get them to the point they're not efficient like they are expecting.
And now we're seeing our leaders, that is Popst and Pilgrim, as they're starting to run into traffic. And this will be interesting here. Remember, Popst, he's got the all-wheel drive, but he also has a turbo. And it takes a while for that to spool up, and that Cadillac's got some instant-on V8 grunt to it.
That's right. That's where Randy really has to utilize all of his experience and try and gap this traffic in the right place. You need to back off them. Don't run up them on them and lose your momentum coming off these corners. Otherwise, that caddy will shoot through.
Well, Randy able to do it as he was working past. I believe that's Harry Curtin's Camaro. Indeed it was, and he got a little bit of a gap. That's just what you're talking about. You want to, in this game of high-speed chess, you want to move your piece so it slows up the other guys. And obviously they're playing that same game as well. And it is something to watch. And, of course, it's multiple class racing as well. So you're dealing with all the pieces moving at different speeds. Here we go back to GTS. And it looks as though the Kias have closed up on Cunningham. They have. This is a great battle now for second. Bell at the back of the Kias again, and lead falling off just a little bit. So these Kias and Justin Bell are on the move, and PD is under serious attack at this point as they work through the fountain complex.
Yeah, and Michael Gallardi very slow through that apex, so I'm not sure what's going on with his car as well, but maybe PD's having some problems.
On board here with Andy Pilgrim as he go back up front, and he's making the move for the lead on Popes, and he came from LAX to make that pass. That was from way back.
What a move. He certainly caught Randy by surprise. I'm sure Randy checked his mirrors, looked where Andy was in terms of the track position, thought, no problem, I just hit my marks, and Andy really took him by surprise. Johnny O'Connell now trying to follow his teammates' way through, trying to get a Cadillac 1-2 at the front of this field.
Sitting in a good third right now. There's the margin as you see new leader Pilgrim, then Popst, then the gap back to O'Connell in third. An amazing pass by Andy Pilgrim. And, boy, they've got to be elated. Again, this is the long wheelbase car. Weren't sure they were going to be really strong here. And they have done an incredible job. And Pilgrim leads it in GT. And leading in GTS is still Jack Baldwin. Today's coverage of the Pirelli World Challenge Championships are being brought to you by Motul, the official lubricant and brake fluid of the Pirelli World Challenge. And by Eibach, the world leader in high-performance suspensions. And by Kia Motors in the turbocharged 2012 Optima SX, not your average midsize sedan. Welcome back to a great battle at the front here at the Pirelli World Challenge Grand Prix of Long Beach, presented by StopTech, round 3 of the GT and GTS Pirelli World Challenge Championship season. Andy Pilgrim continuing to lead, although Randy Popes not letting him get away.
He is not. He's really close back in on Andy. He's sort of got his rhythm back down again. May have been some traffic there for Andy, but down this straightaway, those caddies look awfully strong, stretching it a little bit. As you see, smoke up ahead in the brake zone for turn 1.
Hopping on board with Randy Popes, working traffic, doing everything he can to stay with Pilgrim. But you can see right there, Andy got into that turn, able to use the entire radius of the corner. Randy pinched a little bit, making that pass. That cost you exit speed.
Yeah, it certainly does. You've got to be so careful around this racetrack. Momentum is the key through this section because someone will pounce in a heartbeat.
So we continue to watch this great battle in GT. We also have a war forming up in GTS behind Baldwin. And you can see Galati still lighting that tire up as we hop on board with Justin Bell making a pass.
Gets a run out of turn 6. He's on the outside now. Can he make it stick? You see Galati up ahead, locking that right front consistently. Colin Brown responds, gets back to the inside and holds on to that 4th spot.
Great cut and thrust racing here to be sure. And there, goes your overall leader, Pilgrim, and that's what we're talking about with high-speed chess, Cal. All these pieces moving in different directions, multi-class racing, and you've got the leader coming up on Galati. Lighten up. I don't care how good a tire is, and these Pirellis are amazing. They can't take that kind of abuse for 50 minutes, can they?
No, I've got to assume that Mike Galati has a flat spot on that right front. That's what keeps locking up in the same areas of the racetrack, so he's got to manage that. I mean, what we're also seeing here, Greg, is a lot of green flag running. Typically on the streets of Long Beach, we see accidents, we see incidents, but right now it's been clean.
And you know what? One of the things that's exciting about this championship is your ability to worldchallenge.com fantasy league race. You can enhance that fun. Just go to that, world-challenge.com/fantasy league. It's presented by Bondurant School of High Performance Driving. You can join today for your chance at a 4-day Bondurant school valued at $5,000. And if you're really good, maybe you can join this kind of racing. It is furious right now. Here comes O'Connell now trying to work his way through. This is killing him in terms of any shot at staying with that lead battle.
Johnny, of course, an ambassador for the Bob Bondurant Racing School, so you may get to meet Johnny if you win that award.
Hopping on board with Johnny now as he gets a little bit of a run, able to use the horsepower advantage of the GT cars and able to get by those Kias. Not quite able to sneak by Petey Cunningham, who, by the way, we have heard from the pit lane is struggling with a braking issue. He's losing the front brakes. We'll keep you updated on that. And for Galati, I don't think it's a flat spot. I think it's a flat acre on that thing by now. That is unbelievable.
Yeah, that Pirelli's going to do well to hold on for the rest of this race. Here we see some more GT cars. That's Sofrona's trying to thread his way through this GTS battle. This is where it gets tight, right there. Oh, wow, that was really, really close there. I'm not sure if they traded paint there down at the apex.
I think they hit, and then I think Sofrona's the other side maybe got tapped by Brown.
Plus his teammates saying, look after my buddy up front there.
On board now with Bell, and he got bottled up.
Look at Welsh. He gets a run through the traffic nicely. He's going to put the pressure on Sofrona.
Well, he got a great run, didn't he, out of that. That's key. We talked about it earlier. That brake zone in one is huge, but the exit out of the hairpin often sets it up.
Then they're down in that Motul brake zone once again for turn one. Traffic up ahead. That helps Sofronas out and narrows the entry there for Welsh. Oh, look at this. The second of the Kias, I think, got bumped.
He ended up going straight when he ought to have been turning. See how much ground he lost at this point.
Look at Crescentini. Wow, that's a narrow angle of attack. Woo! Thought he's going to run out of room there on the exit.
Boy, some very aggressive. And I'll tell you who's having a quietly great race is Tommy Dreesy right there in the Three Stooges movie as we hop on board the iBox suspension cam of Peter Cunningham. And look at the compression here. You need great springs and shocks on a street course. It takes a pounding.
It really does. You can see the iBox spring and shock absorber there working over the various surfaces, different grip levels around this racetrack. Petey behind the wheel. And we think he might have a slight brake problem, so he's really going to be working hard there, the suspension, trying to make up for it in the corners, what he's losing a little bit in the brake zones here today.
Well, one thing with a front drive car, Cal, I believe if you do have a brake issue, especially at the front end, you downshift a lot and use the gearbox to slow yourself down, which just stresses that front end even more. Galati's still smoking it up big time. And the Acura is, of course, a great run here this year, now with the V6. Here's more.
HPD's role in World Challenge is to support our Acura Motorsports effort with real-time racing.
When it comes to engineering, they're there to offer their input above and beyond what our own real-time engineers can do.
Last year, the Acura TSXs ran a 4-cylinder engine. This year, we're running a V6 engine because that was introduced in our highest-end production car version of the TSX. So the engines in these V6 TSXs started life as crate engines straight out of a factory. We've been able to learn on the dyno and on the track how far we can push them.
In this category, up against the V8 cars or some of the forced induction cars, we needed more power. Now we have it.
Of course, the addition of the V6 engine gives us more torque with more displacement. So that allows us better launches off the line for the standing starts in World Challenge, which are very key. And of course, it improves drivability on low-end exiting corners.
We think that this Acura TSX is going to be a good car for this year, and if we can have some good luck on our side, I think we can fight for this championship.
Well, luck is something that you just have to hope for, but with a 6-time champion and the engineering expertise of Lee Niffenegger, they got a shot. And look at this, little bit of moisture coming there from Greg Schaefer, and boy, he's got some banner he's trailing here. That is in that Nissan SPL Pro and Sparco. Nissan 370, well, there you go.
Yeah, turns it around in turn one and tears that Toyota banner off. I'm not sure Nissan will be happy about that. Another Japanese manufacturer, but here we go.
Like he just locked it up on the downshift, maybe, huh?
And again, this brake zone is so critical down there in turn one.
All right, there he loses the banner as we take a look at our leaders overall. And in GT, Pilgrim, Popes, O'Connell, and Safronis. And in GTS, it continues to be Baldwin, but Bell now is closing in. We are back at the Pirelli World Challenge Grand Prix of Long Beach, presented by Stop Tech, and as you would imagine, a great battle unfolding. And look at this, Lasse Aschenbach now is trying to work his way up through the pack. He is still chasing his teammate Tommy Dreese, who's gone around Crescentini, and they're both going around the GTS leader. That's Jack Baldwin in that Hot Wheels Porsche. A little bit of damage to the right rear of Jack's car, and now all three of those GT machines slice past.
Yeah, not the ideal race for Lawson Aschenbach because he had a problem in qualifying, tagged the wall a little bit, and under further investigation, the team found there was some subframe damage to that Porsche, so I wonder if that's affecting his performance in the race today.
That, and remember, with his win in fourth at St. Pete, he's carrying some pretty good rewards weight as well, and that is the success ballast, as they call it, and everybody that has success has to deal with it, but that's all part of it as we hop on board with Awesome Lawson as he is in full pursuit mode going after Dino Crescentini in that Stop Tech car.
Yeah, look at this, coming off that hairpin turn. They're really busy with the hands. You're trying to get the power down and unwind that steering wheel just as fast as you can.
Well, I'll tell you what, Dreese in that Three Stooges, the movie, that's one of the true speed cars. He got out of that exceptionally well, really getting the power down strongly there. And then, of course, as we talked about, you got Dino Crescentini. That's one of the 5 global motorsports entries here. This is the Stop Tech Porsche. And then Aschenbach in that Privacy Star Entrust True Speed car. Pretty good group here. Dreese winning his first pro race here in 2000 in the Trans Am Series.
That's right. He's a local boy. He has fond memories here at Long Beach and has done an awesome job here today, really going from strength to strength in the World Challenge Series.
Yeah, he and this True Speed teams really seem to have just merged beautifully. I don't know exactly what it is, but they're putting a car underneath him that he just loves driving, and Aschenbach getting very, very aggressive, trying to figure a way by Crescentini.
Well, I think he was thinking about it, but he recognized, you talk about aggressive, he knows Dino's one of the most aggressive drivers out there, so got to think about the big picture. When you're not having a great day like Lawson is today, you need to think about that big picture in the championship and getting good points.
One thing you're generally not going to do is out-deep Dino Crescentini. He's thinking about it here again. Lawson is a Dino. I think Dino realized if I turned in, that could have been ugly, and he lived to fight another day, and that's rare.
Look at this.
Oh, what
Dreese
a move here. Does he make it work?
Dreese suddenly realized, hey, I slowed down way too much and left the door wide open. He moves to the inside to block that move potentially by Lawson.
And it worked this time, and now they've got Schaefer that is going to be able to use as a pick as well to not let Lawson swing out too much here. And Crescentini, yes, he's going to clear them as well. So position change, but a good battle. We hop on board with Tony Gaples, and boy, he is working very hard, putting some pressure on here in that Kleinschmidt Black Dog Speed Shop Corvette. Remember, he got the Optima Batteries Best Standing Start Award, and this is what he does very well, is pass cars during the race.
That's another class, of course. That's Justin Bell in the number 50, currently running in the 3rd spot, I believe, in GTS right now. So JB, another one thinking about the championship. 2 brilliant wins at St. Petersburg. We heard from Paul Brown that he may now be in the car for the complete season.
And for Justin, I'll tell you, it's he's talked about it many times. He said, I'm not retired, I'm not former or anything. I'm just not doing a lot of driving these days. And I think he's loving being back in the seat and being very competitive with that great program. Speaking of which, Andy Pilgrim hasn't won in World Challenge competition since VIR in 2010. And back with Cadillac here these past couple of years. And boy, would this one be sweet.
Yeah, and Andy is for real this year. I think he's really going to be a threat for this championship. He's got so much experience. He knows the cars well. He knows the tracks very well. And he's going to be a factor in, week out. Here we see Gallardi seems to have slowed his pace a little bit. We saw him with that brake lock up consistently throughout the early laps of this race. Maybe he's had to back off a little bit.
Well, at a certain point, when you get that bad of a flat spot, it sends a vibration through that car that's just insane. So that might be exactly what he's dealing with and needing to back out of it. Here's your leader in GTS, that beautiful Hot Wheels invoice prep. Cayman S from Porsche Napleton Racing, the racing arm of Napleton Porsche in the Chicago area, and doing a great job. And he's got, that's Jeff Courtney in that Kenda Tire Rec Stuff GT True Speed JCR entered car moving past him, and Jack doing a nice job there, letting him go, then trying to tuck in behind, get a little bit of a tow down this long shoreline, bending straight.
You can see Jack being very careful there with the other traffic. You recognize he has a massive lead over the second place car right now, which is in fact just, big impact down in turn 1. The 370Z once again having some issues.
I think that may be Schaefer again. And boy, did he get in. You could hear him lock up and hit, Cal. Oh, yeah.
Had some problems earlier in the race, and once again, the Motul brake zone is so hard on these cars over the course of this race, which has gone green all of the way. It's rear lock up and just along for the ride. That was a big impact there.
Boy, lucky for him, he's able to back it up and get into that runoff area down there. And if he is able to do that and get tucked behind there, Cal, remarkably, we could stay green again. We have not had a full course caution here at this Grand Prix of Long Beach. This is unbelievable here, and very impressive the way these guys are driving out there right now. And Schaefer is able to get it away. Pilgrim leads overall and in GT, Baldwin in GTS. Today's coverage of the Pirelli World Challenge Championships are being brought to you by Invisible Glass, America's #1 selling automotive glass cleaner. And by Nissan. Nissan, innovation for all. And by Optima Batteries. With twice the life and 15 times the vibration resistance, Optima Batteries really are the ultimate power source. At a beautiful Long Beach street circuit, the Pirelli World Challenge Grand Prix of Long Beach, presented by StopTech, third round of the championship for the GT and GTS category. And for those of you who just might be tuning in, let's take a look at our Kia Rewind and see what's unfolded so far in the race. And at the start, as you would expect, as we rewind to that point in the race, for pole sitter in the all-wheel drive Volvo, Randy Pope's getting away beautifully, but back in the pack, Steve Ott in the Racing for Our Heroes Porsche, not such a great launch, bottled up some of the people behind, and as usual, Cal, down into turn 1, it was busy.
Yeah, and actually switched around the two Kias there. You see Michael Galati and Colin Brown now switching positions, but right in the mix of things for the GTS battle.
And then Pope's drawing away, then Mr. Ziegler getting for the second year in a row airborne here at Long Beach. And for that bit of contact, Lou Gelati, three-time champion of World Challenge competition, into the pits. And then problems for Brian Kabinski in the Carlisle Interconnect Technologies car pulls off. Gelati struggling.
Yeah, he's had brake problems throughout the course of this race and had to make a visit to pit lane.
Changing tires, all that flat spotting. Here's just your basic accordion effect. Working different classes of traffic, nose to tail, all everywhere. And Petey Cunningham, we alluded to, we were hearing he was having brake problems and finally caught up with him. And then a beautiful pass.
Yeah, talking about brakes, Andy Pilgrim just super late on the brakes down in that Motul brake zone, takes the lead away from Randy Pobst.
And Jack Baldwin is continuing to lead in GTS, and only the third World Challenge race for him and the third Pirelli World Challenge race for that program. And what a great story that is as well. And up front, Andy Pilgrim, once he got around Pobst, he's managed traffic beautifully, and a problem after a great race for Dave Welch in that GoPro Ferrari 430 GT, and he's got damage at the front, and looks like he may be leaking fluid as well, Cal. We'll have to see if we can find out what happened here. He's trying to get it sorted down in the hairpin.
Yeah, the hairpin, maybe he got a nudge there, or there's some traffic involved, because typically you come through that corner clean by yourself. Here we see it, dives to the inside and just gets in way too late. Pretty aggressive, an optimistic move there by Dave. The damage is already done, though, so it's kind of strange.
Maybe that was part of the issue, huh? He just lost some of the downforce on the front. That was Roger Miller. He was trying to get around. Now, this is getting interesting. Baldwin in that Hot Wheels Porsche Cayman is starting to get reeled in a bit by Justin Bell. He was made a habit of this in the first two rounds of the championship.
Yeah, he sort of quietly stalks his competitor and then grabs the lead towards the end of this race. That's what JB did at St. Petersburg. Can he do the same here again at Long Beach? Certainly Jack will have been managing those tires. Recognize if you get these long green flag runs, you want something to respond with.
And, of course, you can keep up to date with what's going on in the Pirelli World Challenge via the social media. You can go to world-challenge.com for all the latest news and views on World Challenge. And you can also go to world-challengetv.com. You can check out cool in-car video, driver interviews, and watch this complete race and all other World Challenge races right here. Then you can check us out on Twitter at the Twitter account, twitter.com/WC Racing. Receive instant updates on race weekends from the series. And on Facebook, search World Challenge GT, GTS, and Touring Car Series. Interact with other World Challenge fans and post your race pictures and video.
Really think Justin may be having some brake issues coming down that brake zone. He's really getting on the brakes, either pumping the pedal up. Something's going on with Justin Bell and the brakes on that Mustang.
Boy, and then look at him gas it through those corners. I think that was out of turn 5, sliding the car around, very, very aggressive. So, boy, he is working it very hard right now. An overall race leader, Andy Pilgrim in GT, and that beautiful Cadillac CTS-V is coming right up behind him. And let's see, is Andy going to try and make the move down into turn 8? No. He was nice enough realizing that Justin's in a battle there, didn't want to slow Justin up too much. Now we'll use that extra power and get on by.
Well, the dynamic of that is totally dictated by the gap that he has to Randy Post. He's gained a few seconds on Randy now, so he can pick his way through this traffic a little bit more carefully.
Yeah, that's true. If Randy was all over the back of him, Andy wouldn't care too much about what's going on with Mr. Bell or Mr. Baldwin.
Coming into a very tricky section. There is enough room there at the hairpin, but if the guy in front of you is not paying attention, you're going to clout each other. So Andy again decides to wait for this long straightaway where the GT car obviously has more power and storms by Jack Baldwin. Jack tucks in there, looking for a bit of a draft. He realizes Justin Bell is closing in.
And speaking of which, we hop on board with Justin Bell as some of the GT traffic goes by. And Justin just has his head down right now and seeing if he could do anything here. And right now, he's got the GT car of Popes in between he and GTS class race leader Baldwin.
And Justin Bell really needs to maximize the points. He's got the championship lead right now off the back of those victories at St. Petersburg, but he's trying to clear his schedule. Paul Brown has said, listen, the car is yours for the championship with the lead that you currently have, but JB's a busy man. He's trying to clear the schedule the rest of the way. If he should have to miss a race, he needs to maximize points that he's at every event.
We've been talking about the importance of brakes here at Long Beach. It's important for racing, period, and StopTech has become a great partner of the series.
For 2012, StopTech is the official brake system partner for World Challenge. World Challenge, to us, is a testing bed for all of our products, especially for this year. This year, we're coming out with brand new products such as racing fluid and racing pads, alongside of new calipers, and this gives us the perfect place to test all of these products in a very rigorous racing format.
The information we gathered through testing and the development of the brake kit with the rotors and the caliper system has been incredible. I mean, it's lightweight, it's efficient, everything works.
By partnering with World Challenge, StopTech has developed a family of race-specific parts so we can provide a race-winning solution to all of our customers.
For a Porsche, it's incredibly important. We have the smallest motor, least power, so we really have to take advantage of handling and braking. So StopTech gives us that advantage where we can outbrake any car out in the field, and it's giving you the confidence to brake deep and consistent and know that you can outbrake the car in front of you.
StopTech is excited to be a partner of World Challenge, and we look forward to great racing, especially in the braking zones.
Well, I'll tell you what, StopTech has always provided exactly that. We've seen some of these StopTech equipped cars and drivers doing amazing things down in the braking zones. And we saw Andy Pilgrim, boy, I'll tell you, you talk about the importance of braking. That pass he put on Randy Popst was maybe the definitive turn one pass here on the streets of Long Beach and the Roar by the Shore. He continues to lead overall in a GT, and in GTS, it's Jack Baldwin, barely. There is a look at Justin Bell here at the Pirelli World Challenge Grand Prix of Long Beach, presented by StopTech, as he continues to hunt down Jack Baldwin in the GTS leading Hot Wheels Cayman S Porsche and that eBay Motors Boss 302 Mustang. Again, the diversity in this series is superb, and what a great run Bell is putting on once again. See those brake lights flashing, though, earlier than you might think about into the brake zone. So if he's dealing with it, he sure is dealing with something beautifully there, too.
Yeah, he's really closed in now. Jack is certainly feeling the heat. You'd have to think this Mustang is a bit more grunt down this front straightaway, so Jack is going to have to be very careful where he positions that Cayman down into that brake zone.
Well, and that's the other thing, too, isn't it? Bell is carrying, we talked about the rewards weight. It's heavier. It's also a V8 versus the engine in that Porsche, so it carries more base weight. So right now, Justin is running a fairly heavy car, and that may be leading to those brake issues if he's having them.
Well, having said that, he suddenly got gapped big time there, right in the point where I thought he'd be accelerating up on the bumper of Jack Baldwin. So I'm not sure if something's amiss with Justin's car right there, but I thought he'd be right on his tail into that brake zone.
Yeah, he definitely now suddenly is, 6-7 car lengths back of Baldwin in an area where he has been awfully aggressive. Now we'll have to see whether he just spun the tires up or something and made a little mistake and can run him down, or if he's fighting some issue here. And here he comes. Boy, I'll tell you, I love watching him come out of that turn. He is on it so hard.
Yeah, he's really fast through this section, and just really, I think from his Trans Am days, has learned how to manage the length of these races. He showed it at St. Petersburg, and he's doing it again here today.
And, of course, dealing with the 92 Trans Am champion in a Hot Wheels machine in 1992. And, boy, I tell you, Jack is loving being back running a full season of racing in a very competitive program, but his first in the Pirelli World Challenge. This is exciting.
He's really excited. He hasn't had a big pro win since 1997 at Sebring when he won the GTS class there that year, and he's just always had the itch. It's never gone away for Jack Baldwin. He's got the same passion today that he did in his early days, and certainly showing the same form right now leading this event.
And the Hot Wheels, Mattel Hot Wheels headquarters is just down the road in El Segundo, California, so you know they've got lots of people there. Boy, look at that. Steve Ott throwing that Loctite Porsche around.
Beautiful.
Yeah. Well, sometimes you drive that hairpin, you use a lot of throttle, don't you, to get the car to rotate, and some of that's done by getting the weight to move around where you want it.
It's almost like a little Scandinavian flick there coming through those two corners. I like it.
Little rally crossing going on right now. And see, we're going to hop on board Justin Marks in the number 46. That is another of those true speed entries. This is the GoPro Mooresville Motorplex true speed entry, having himself a solid race here. And his first, hard to believe, it's his first time ever at Long Beach. He's done so much driving and been in World Challenge years ago, but never raced here at Long Beach. He was one of the few guys to go out in the absolutely awash first practice session because he said, I got to know which way this track goes.
Yeah, and he was fastest, by the way, so got to grips with it very quickly.
And there is P.D. Cunningham, who we now have confirmed is dealing with massive brake issues. Basically has lost completely the front brakes on that car, and he is just struggling to hang on for any kind of points right now. Remember that luck thing that he alluded to in the Acura package? Not today.
Well, he's got so much experience, he realizes today is just a points management day. Don't really aggravate the situation. Try and get some points on the board and live to fight another one.
And I'll tell you what, Andy Pilgrim has been virtually perfect today. What a tremendous, raced solid, sat behind Randy when the opportunity was there, laid on a brilliant pass, and coming up on that Audi making its World Challenge debut in that beautiful Audi R8. What a spectacular machine that is.
It really is, and I think Andy Pilgrim today is definitely making a statement. Yes, Johnny O'Connell leads this championship, but there are two of these caddies in the championship fight.
And two world-class talents behind the controls of both, that's for sure. Up and there is Mr. Miller. That's the Larry H. Miller dealership's boss Mustang. Had a little bit of a runoff down there.
He's had a really clean run here today. Had a strong run towards the back of the pack in qualifying, but really up in the top six, looking good.
And watching Andy Pilgrim, white flag coming out. We are into our final lap here in this third round of the Pirelli World Challenge Championships for the GT and GTS cars. The touring cars and the new B-Spec series have a slightly different schedule. And Andy trying to get by Anders Hayner, and Anders saying, well, I'm not going to just let you go through easy here.
Oh, Anders is a tough competitor. It's going to be so great to see him back behind the wheel. He's taking a little break in his racing action, focusing on his business, but great to see him back, particularly in that race car.
And there is Jack Baldwin. Speaking of having somebody that's great to have back in racing full-time, I'll tell you what, what amazes me with Jack was back in '92, he was one of the older competitors in Trans Am, and you'd never know it. Was a kid at heart back then, still is, and obviously driving the wheels off this thing and keeping Justin Bell behind him. And you can see Baldwin's car, that little bit of body damage on it, and nonetheless, Bell, we've seen him attack and then lose ground just a little bit, and so it's interesting to see what's unfolding here.
Yeah, it seems like mid-part of this straightaway where you'd think that Mustang would start to draw up on him just about the kink area. He seems to drop back a little bit, so I'm not sure if there's a transmission issue or something in one of the middle gears, but definitely losing a bit of critical ground.
And back on board with Andy Pilgrim as he's working through his last lap, the last time through that key hairpin onto the front straight, and Andy Pilgrim coming up looking for the checkers to take the win here at Long Beach. And what an amazing drive. I think perfectly judged is the way to put it.
Yeah, I mean, just executed to perfection. A great qualifying run. That's the key. You've got to start towards the front of the pack. It's so tough to pass here on the streets. But when he needed to, boy, what a move on Randy Popes right here in turn one.
Well, and Andy made the point, he said in qualifying he got his lap in early and then really saved those tires. And with the heavier weight of those caddies and all the power and that wheelbase, you need the tires at the end of it. And it looks like, as we said, he managed it beautifully. Now, for Baldwin, he definitely is drawing away from Justin Bell in these last couple laps, but certainly in this last lap, he suddenly has gapped him big time.
Love to be inside that helmet and think about what Jack's feeling right now. The butterflies from the early days when you're looking for your first win. Maybe he's feeling the same thing here today. Looking for his first big win in many years.
Well, back in the day, the Hot Wheels car he was driving in Trans Am became one of the hottest selling of the Mattel brand ever, and he's got such a special connection with this sponsor in this company, and to see it all come good, just has to get out of this hairpin well one last time, keep the power underneath it. He's done it. Bell not close enough. If Jack can almost coast to the checkers, and as he done it, he has Jack Baldwin, a winner once again in SCCA Pro Racing competition and in the Pirelli World Challenge Championship, and only his third ever Pirelli World Challenge race. That's remarkable. Just a great story, Cal.
Yeah, it really is. It's fun to see. I mean, we talk about Jack's passion. Here we're on board with him once again, and just a brilliant run.
And let's take a look now at the unofficial final results. Pilgrim, Popes, and O'Connell, your overall in GT podium. And again, Johnny in traffic just lost touch, could never get there. James Sofronis, another top 5 here at the beach. You take a look. The Audi, in its debut, that beautiful R8, is now sitting in the 11th spot with Anders Hayner, so a nice run there. Alex Figge just never could quite get back on track. And you take a look now, you can see Petey Cunningham struggling just a little bit, back in the order, a little bit. Galati as well, some of the players that we were following. Now let's take a look at our Sunoco Hard Charger Award winner, and it was a great run, and it was the number 23 entry of Roger Miller, and what a launch he put together. And then throughout the entire race, Kelly moved up 13 spots overall in a very tough field.
A great run for him. Had that little problem down in one of the brake zones, but sometimes around the streets, if you're not going to make the corner, you need to take that escape route. He did it and finished the day brilliantly.
Let's look at just one of the many passes he put together. Well, the cruise ships are in port, and we are done here for round 3 of the GT and GTS Championship. We'll be back with more when we return to the Roar by the Shore, which has now gone quiet, the streets of Long Beach. We've got some winners to chat with. Don't go anywhere. Welcome back to the Pirelli World Challenge Grand Prix of Long Beach, presented by StopTech, where this third round of the GT and GTS Championship has concluded, and it was a superb race. And one of the big stories here, as we watch Andy Pilgrim making his way into Victory Circle in that beautiful Cadillac CTSV Coupe, flag to flag, no full course cautions, and as a result, a new record race speed. And it stood since 06 when Aschenbach in his Porsche ran at 79.4 miles an hour. Andy averaging 84.466 miles an hour. Just remarkable.
It really is when you think about 35 cars out there with 2 different classes passing each other throughout the course of this event, and no incidents big enough to demand a full caution period.
Boy, and Andy Pilgrim making his way out of the car at this point, and deservedly so. Boy, he earned this one. Just a perfectly judged drive, and I know this means the world to him. And Jack Baldwin is back.
He is. He is so stoked to be in this championship. What a great day for him.
All right, and as he makes his way down into Victory Circle, let's get back to Victory Circle itself, where Jim Martin has caught up with Andy Pilgrim.
You did it. Thank you, Bob. Thank you so much, man. Thank you.
Bob Audrey comes up and shakes his hand as well, and I can't imagine a better result. Getting by the Volvo didn't look like it was easy, though.
No, I think Randy, you know, that car is heavy, and I was just waiting for Randy to basically, you know, hopefully lose his brakes a little bit, and he did. And I don't know that he thought I was, like, right there to do it. It seemed to surprise him a little bit, I think. But, you know, the Cadillac worked great. Green flag racing for us is great.
Boy, and he made it pay. Let's take a look now at the GT driver standings presented by Volvo. O'Connell still leads it, but Pilgrim now closing in second, Aschenbach third, Sofronis and Popes in the 5th spot. And Cal, let's take a look at the GT manufacturer standings.
Well, as you would expect, on the back of another victory here in Long Beach, Cadillac lead the way. Porsche keeping the heat on, and Volvo, with 2 podiums so far this season, sit in 3rd.
And in the GTS class here, certainly at the streets of Long Beach, it was Jack Baldwin in that Hot Wheels Porsche, and in only his 3rd race, a new winner in Pirelli World Challenge competition by a sports car racing legend who Jim Martin has caught up with in victory lane.
It looked easy from out here. What was it like from inside the car?
Well, I mean, I was driving hard. You know, these guys worked so hard to give me a great Hot Wheels Cayman, and you know, I got a great start today. I mean, it was awesome. It was like in the movies. It was like I left and I'm passing everybody. And GT cars, it just went my way, which gave me a big, you know, lead early. And then I kind of set the pace and kind of rolled along with it, and then I had to manage it. We got a little issues. You know, we still got some issues. That's okay, but the car was great. And you know, I just managed it. I saw him coming. I said, how many laps are there to go? They kept telling me, and Justin did a great job. My hat's off to him. I mean, it's great to race with him. But I owe everything to Napleton Porsche and the crew, my guys here, Mark, Isaac, and Jeff, and for this opportunity. They worked their hearts out on this car to give me the opportunity, to give us the opportunity to win today. It was great. I want to thank StopTech, the best brakes. I've hammered them all day. Steve Ruiz here, the engineer on this car, just a wonderful job.
one of the most enthusiastic, experienced drivers you're ever going to find. Let's take a look at the GTS driver points presented by Volvo. Bell over Cunningham, who was in full management today. Baldwin now third. Andy Lee and Nick Asayan round out the top 5. Let's take a look at manufacturer points, Cal.
Yeah, the manufacturer points presented by Kia. Ford on top. JB's 2 wins in St. Petersburg, of course. Then Acura, PD Cunningham leading the charge there. Chevy in third. Kia and Nissan round out the top 5.
And I'll tell you, those Kias are on the march. It is going to be fun there. You see Colin Brown, recently married, by the way, only a week ago. So nice present for him on the podium. And Andy Pilgrim, a huge win in GT and overall. We've got more for you. Stay with us here at Long Beach. Today's coverage of the Pirelli World Challenge Championships have been brought to you by Cadillac V-Series, the 556 horsepower CTS V Coupe, sedan and wagon, the world's fastest family of cars. By Privacy Star, the only complete privacy and preference service available for smartphones. And by RaceKeeper, one of the world's most capable and trusted providers of video data loggers. And back to all of the action unfolding now in Victory Circle here at the Pirelli World Challenge Grand Prix of Long Beach, presented by StopTech. And once again, it was a huge race, perhaps a turning point for Randy Popes there in the blue on the podium. Earlier, he caught up, or I should say Jim caught up with him.
You held him off as best you could.
Wow, I'm thrilled. The K-Pax Volvo ran really great today. The Pirelli tires were really forced to work hard on this street course on that big Volvo, but the all-wheel drive made up for it. And I congratulate Andy Pilgrim and his team for a great job in the Cadillac. But that's a nice, clean second place. The Volvo ran perfectly the whole race. I am thrilled.
And in the Kia turning point of the race, it was a GTS, and it was Jack Baldwin's drag racing start for the old drag racer. That's how he started off in racing, and he had a little help with that stalled car. And the Cadillac CTS-V move of the race, Cal, was a surgical move.
It was. I think he surprised everyone, including Randy Popes. Andy Pilgrim's move down to the inside.
And the Motul Fastest Lap of the Race Awards in the GT category goes to Randy Popes with a 122.7 and Justin Bell a 130.613 for those two competitors. And for the Manufacturers Fan Championship, this is the award that's so important because it's the fans that come out in droves and support, and it was here, Cadillac. Those fans, once again, huge for the corral that was here, and we were talking about it. The support that is growing for this brand in the Pirelli World Challenge is just wonderful. Now, if you are looking to go to a race here on the schedule that's coming up, if you're in the California area, May 10th and 11th, head up to Mazda Raceway Laguna Seca, one of the most beautiful venues you could imagine, and join us there, but plenty of good racing elsewhere, including a return, Cal, to Detroit.
That's going to be spectacular, but you look at all of those racetracks, they all demand different things, and the drivers look forward to every one of them.
It is superb, and of course, season wraps up back in California, just north of the Bay Area at Infinia Raceway in Sonoma, California at the end of August. Now, one of the things you can do, of course, is watch all the racing unfold right here, and the next race is going to be a biggie, as we are going to be covering two different venues, Miller Motorsports Park in Utah, as well as Mazda Raceway Laguna Seca, and Miller Motorsports Park will also be the debut of the new B-Spec Series, the fourth of the Pirelli World Challenge Championship classes. That's going to be exciting, as is all the action. And of course, Cal, we go from the opening 3 rounds on street-lined or concrete-lined street courses to wide-open road courses, but we're going to see amazing action.
We certainly will, and we have so many different manufacturers in this championship. When we move away from the streets, maybe one of them will find some form and get to the top of the charts.
Well, that's true. Some venues just work better for some cars and manufacturers than others. The racing is going to be fast and furious. Make sure you join us, as always. For Calvin Fish and for Jim Martin, I'm Greg Creamer. Thanks for joining us, and until next time, you take care, everybody.